So, this is the energy and transport. So, by the learning outcome for this topic, I hope that by end of this session, you all be understand the relationship between transportation and energy consumption. Okay. Next is identify method to reduce energy consumption in transportation sector. And finally, leverage the best transportation mode for the business that have the least impact on the environment. So these are the learning outcome that I hope by end of the session you will be able to gain. And so transport is this is very important topic for your business activity. Because why? At the end of your production, after you have completed all the process to produce your product, then the next step you might think is to transport, to deliver your product. So what is the best mode of transport that you can have in order to achieve or to optimize the cost of your production? Okay. So what are the transportation? Okay. Transportation maksudnya a movement of human, animal and goods from one location to another location. So basically you want to move from point A to point B, right? And that include air, land, water, cable, pipeline and space. So you can be a movement through air transportation, for example, flight, land, car, lorry, motorcycle, bus, train, water, ship, boat, a cable. From the shortest distance, you can use a cable. From pipeline, is for example, if you have a similar location, similar building, let's say if you want to deliver from lower ground to upper ground, then you can use pipeline. And space, basically an area that you can move your product, right? So what are the purpose of transportation? So the purpose of transportation is shaped by variety of human and physical constraint, such as distance, time, administrative division and topography. So your cost for transportation is basically depends on jarak, time, distance, and then time. For example, if you want express delivery, then you have to pay more, or you can charge more. Or normal service, you can give them discount for your transportation cost. Administrative, either by you transport or deliver the product directly, or you use another service. Like for example, if you want to deliver your product by yourself, you can contact the customer and then you can deliver the product by yourself, or you can use Grab, or you can use Lalamove, or you can use Lazada Express. That is administrative division, the layer that you want to do for your transportation of the product. It's depend. Sometimes for a shorter distance, it's better for you to deliver by yourself if the customer want it urgently. But if the distance is very long distance, then it's not viable. It's not good. I mean, it's not profitable for you if you want to deliver by yourself. It's better for you to use some other service, and that particular time you use for another work that you can do. All right. And then frictions to any movement and frictions of distance. For example, during the MCO, we have so many roadblock, right? So a friction that can delay friction ni adalah a matter or a thing that can delay your movement, and that can delay your product delivery, and that can that can delay your product delivery. So you take more time to deliver your product instead of you doesn't have any friction, right? So if you don't have if you don't have any friction, then you can move your product or you can transport your product freely. Okay, and the transportation is straight between time and money. If you want to deliver quickly or urgently, then you have to pay more. If you can buy time, if you can wait for your product, if the customer can wait for your product, then you can ship it with more cheap price, kan? Ya, kita kena imbalancekan di antara masa dan cost, kan? Kalau produk tu nak cepat, customer nak cepat, then kena bayar lebih lah. Ataupun you kena bayar service courier lebih, express. Tapi kalau katakanlah customer tu willing to wait, and then you have no urgently to deliver your product, and it's stated in your terms and condition, then you can pay at the normal price. Alright? And the transportation has a cost that varies to the factors such as length of trip, okay, jarak, capacity mode, barang tu besar, kecil, berat, ringan, and infrastructure and nature of what being transport. Okay, benda yang kita nak transport tu, kan? Besar, kecil, ringan, berat. Of course, it will have a cost for that. And also friction. Saya terlupa tadi, friction. Maybe if you want to deliver your products, let's say you have to go through a custom, kan? Contohnya kita nak deliver produk kita overseas, kan? Ataupun you nak beli produk daripada overseas. Sometimes it might take some time, ambil masa, pasal it has to go certain requirement. Tax, apa lagi? Inspection, nak tahu barang tu barang yang legal ataupun illegal. So, kena tax ataupun tidak. That friction. If you can remove that friction, if you can, for example, if you buy some product, it's already included the tax that you have to pay. But sometimes, if you buy a cheaper product, you might notice that later on, you have to pay for the tax. Like say, for example, you buy something from overseas. It could be. It could be. Right. This is the principle of the transportation. It's location A and B. It's depend on the demand. Let's say, for example, if your business located in Kuala Lumpur, where the demand is assumably to be high, and so your cost of transportation might be lower compare if your business located in the rural area where the demand is less, then you need more money to transport your product. The demand, the needs for your product, and then the distance, of course lah, the distance A and B, the space, any constraint or not. Like for what I'm explained just now, sekatan jalan raya, kan, roadblock, tax, any other administrative fee dan sebagainya. And then the relationship of space and time, converge and diverge. Itulah tadi saya kata, if you need more product urgently, then you have to pay more. If you can wait for your product, then you can pay less. A location can be a center or intermediate element of mobility. Kalau location kita kat Kuala Lumpur, then okay, you can move around. In Kuala Lumpur, you can move around to Perak, Ipoh, you can move around to Kuantan, dekat, kan? Kuala Lumpur, you can move around to Kuantan dekat, Ipoh dekat, and then Seremban dekat, Shah Alam dekat. Whereby you duduk dekat Melaka, you nak pergi Kuantan jauh, you nak pergi Ipoh jauh, you nak pergi Seremban dekat lah, kan? You nak pergi Johor dekat lah. Depends. Where is your demand? Where is your office is located? That's why to overcome geography, then you must consume space. For example, if you want to deliver your product more faster, if your business is located in Johor, it might best for you to use air freight, cargo kan, bawa daripada Johor ke KL. Tapi of course lah, daripada KL nak pergi custom semua kan. Tengok. Ataupun guna kereta api, train. So you consume space. Train, udara. Kan, contohnya baru-baru ni ada kalangan kita yang pergi bercuti naik private jet. Nak pergi Langkawi naik private jet kan. Nak pergi Langkawi naik helikopter kan. You consume space. You gunakan another space. You tak guna jalan naik biasa kan. Ini cepat. Tapi ada harga yang you kena bayar. Transportation seeks massification but is constrained by atomization. Maksudnya, kalau lokasi kita tu padat, then okay, bagus. Better for us to deliver our product. But then, kalau katakanlah atomization, you located in another rural area, of course susah lah you nak transport kan. Mungkin kalau you punya, katakanlah you punya office dekat Melaka, nak turun KL, takkan nak turun setiap hari kan. Katakanlah order banyak dekat KL, order kat Melaka kurang kan. Takkan you nak turun KL setiap hari nak deliver your order kan. Mungkin you tak boleh buat macam tu lah. Kalau you buat macam tu, then you have to pay more for your transportation. Otherwise, you kena kumpul the order, and then maybe twice a week or 3 kali seminggu, then you go to KL to deliver your product. Or might best if you're using a services. Okay. A velocity is a modal, intermodal and managerial effort. Yes, it's require effort. You kena study you punya location. You kena study what are the best mode transport. You kena study you punya customer behavior. And then you kena study juga cost of the transportation. Minyak. Lupa cakap minyak kan. Minyak. Utility to transport utility yang kita gunakan to transport our product. Dan kalau katakanlah minyak untuk kapal terbang, lagi mahal lah kan. Compare dengan minyak nak guna kereta kan, ataupun lori guna diesel. Itu depends. Alright. Okay. So this is the derived demand of the transportation. Sama ada kita nak for working, for vacationing, shopping or manufacturing. Of course, in our case now, we are manufacturing product. We want to deliver our product. Of course, our activity is manufacturing. So dia akan jadi macam mass transportation lah, and working. And you are not doing your business for vacationing kan, and shopping. That will require more time. I mean leisure time kan, leisuring compared to working and manufacturing kan. Alright. And then the direct demand is a commuting type of transport. The travel, the deliveries and distribution. Distribution tadi tu saya kata, kalau kata adakah you lebih baik you hire agent. You hire agent kan. Mungkin agent kat KL. Kilang kita kat Melaka, agent kat KL. Mudah sikit lah. Dan distribute your product kan. You only transfer your product once to your agent, and then your agent will distribute among the client dekat Kelang, KL dan sebagainya. And then the derived demand depends on the service and warehousing. Kat mana kita punya store. Macam tadi kat Melaka kan, store kita kat Melaka, jauh sikit lah. Mungkin saya kata, mungkin kita kena tengok mode of transportation yang sesuai. Sama ada kita sendiri yang deliver atau through agent ataupun guna courier service. Alright. And this, in turn, the more time you need for your delivery of product, the more longer location, of course, it will affect your energy consumption. Kan? Lagi lama masa kita berjalan, lagi banyak tenaga yang kita gunakan. Betul tak? Contohlah, walaupun lokasinya dekat, tapi kita berhadapan dengan traffic jam. Lokasi dekat ni, tapi nak pergi dalam jarak 10 km tu, Kadang-kadang berlari lagi cepat daripada naik kereta kan. Ataupun naik basikal lagi cepat daripada naik kereta kan. Sebab apa? Traffic jam. The more you trap, tersekat dalam traffic jam, the more petrol that you use kan. So the more cost for you. So you have to study where, time, cost, your demand, your location, the distance. This is the parameter that you have to study. You have to look into what is the best mode of transportation to deliver your product. Okay, boleh Boleh? Everybody can? Right. Thank you for your response. So the importance of transportation, I think, right? So it depends on the environment. Kalau katakanlah kita jenis yang environmental friendly, then we might opt for a shorter distance, less fuel consumption, kan? More efficient vehicles. For example, you use the electric car. Instead of you use a SUV, you use a bus or train, which has can transport more product. Contohlah kita bawa kereta kan, kita nak angkut orang kan. Katakanlah ada 4 orang. Kita bawa kereta seorang berbanding dengan kita naik bas. Of course naik bas tu ramai-ramai kan. Bas tu boleh bawa ramai orang, lagi environmental friendly compare dengan kita naik kereta kan. Seorang je dah banyak emission yang kita bebaskan berbanding dengan beramai-ramai orang, berapa emission yang dia lepaskan dalam satu bas. Okay. Engineering. Kena tengoklah. Sekarang ni dah banyak kan kereta-kereta yang energy efficient vehicle. Ada yang hybrid, ada yang fully electric car, ada teknologi, apps yang you can use. For example, dulu mana ada Waze kan? Dulu mana ada Google Map? Dulu mana ada map kan? Map yang app dalam, bukan map yang kertas, app. Tak ada kan? So you nak pergi tempat A, tempat B, menggagau mencari kan? Sesat. Betul tak? Nowadays, you can use Google Maps. You can use Waze. You even know where is the location that congested area. Where is the location is not congested area. Where is the location that is roadblock. Where is the location that nearest distance. Where is the location that taking less time to go for point A to point B. Have technology nowadays. You can use apps. Planning. Saya kata tadi, plan sama ada better for you to deliver by your own or you can use agent. Kalau katakanlah nak pergi satu tempat tu nak hantar 4-5 barang sekaligus, better, ataupun hantar sekali turun KL, hantar satu barang. Kan? History. History ni yalah tengok jarak kan. Kadang-kadang guna map ni, guna Waze ni okey. Kadang menyampah pula guna Waze kan. You learn from your Waze behavior kan. Waze ni pun dia ada AI kan. Dia dah tahu dah. Okay, kalau kita selalu guna, kalau kita nak pergi A dengan B, nak pergi daripada A ke B ni, kalau kita dah ada road yang, jalan yang kita dah biasa gunakan, dia dah tahulah. Tapi kadang-kadang, walaupun kita pilih jalan yang dia dah bagi yang sama, kadang kita jumpa masalah yang sama kan. We never learn by using that particular road. You learn from the history. Okay, jalan ni tak bagus ni kan. Jalan ni banyak lubang. Jalan ni, nanti kita jalan kampung sesak, jalan kampung sempit kan. Kita tangkut ke apa, rosak ke, bergesek ke kan. You learn from the history. Social demography. Kan? Keadaan sosioekonomik kat tempat tu lah. Kalau kawasan bandar, of course, lagi mudah lah. Better dalam kawasan bandar ni kalau guna Lalamove lah kan. I think the most efficient vehicle kan. Pasal dia memang kerja dia nak tu lah. Cuma you have to pay more lah. You have to pay more. But the time, bila you bayar dia untuk hantar barang you, sebenarnya you keluarkan duit lah kan untuk bayar dia, untuk bayar Lalamove untuk deliver you product. Tapi the time tu sebenarnya precious. Masa tu sebenarnya berharga. masa yang you deliver tu, yang you bayar dekat Telenor untuk transfer you product, you boleh buat benda lain kan. You boleh buat benda lain. Dan kadang-kadang kita tak nampak benda tu tau. Kita tak nampak yang, oh kenapa nak kena bayar dalam move? Betul tak? Ada cost kan. Tapi kita tak nampak. Kalau kita bayar dalam move, kita ada masa. Masa tu kita boleh buat benda lain. Betul tak? Masa tu kita buat benda lain. Kadang-kadang kita tak nampak kenapa bos-bos ni ada hire pemandu kan. Dia hire driver. Bukan saja-saja dia hire driver Bukan saja-saja dia hire driver. They hire a driver bukan nak belagak ke, no. They hire the driver so that the time that they spend dalam transport tu, dalam kereta tu nak bergerak daripada point A ke point B, there are a lot of things that they can do. Contohnya tidur. Kalau katakanlah orang tu kerja, masa dia bila dekat office tu really occupied by meetings, jumpa klien, presentation, mengajar, buat research kan. Apa lagi? Bentang paper, buat business proposal, review paper. So masa dia memang kat pejabat tak ada masa nak rehat, tak ada masa nak tidur. But then bila dia hire driver, dia ada orang yang tolong bawakan dia daripada point A ke point B, that masa tu sebenarnya digunakan untuk rehat. So bila you rehat, you recover balik badan you boleh kerja balik. That's how you punya how you recover. And then sekolah daripada segi ekonomi kan. Segi ekonomi, science. This is what being important for your transportation. Okay. And then kalau kita on the left side of this slide, the growth of the demand, reduction of cost. Of course, benda ni saya dah explain tadi. And then the last one is expansion of infrastructure. Do you know why in Japan all the major city berebut, major city, bandar-bandar besar berebut mintakan Shinkansen bullet train berhenti kat tempat diorang. And they have to pay, they have to orang kata bidder to have Shinkansen to stop at their city. Why? Sebab apa? Bila Shinkansen ni lalu, it brings economy to them. It brings, kalau kita lihat dekat Jepun, the community develop surrounding the railway station. Kalau kat Malaysia ni, kita tengok stesen kereta api Batang Benar tu, Batang Melaka tu, ada ekonomi bangun? Tak kan? Susah. So kita tak guna kereta api. Tapi kalau kat Jepun, the lifestyle ataupun keadaan sosioekonomi membangun disebabkan oleh expansion of infrastructure, and in this case Shinkansen bullet train. It brings economy to them. It brings people to them to meet, to greet, to deliver a new product, to market a new product. So it depends. It's very, very important for your. It's very important, for the transportation. Okay. Next, a transport system depends on demand, volume and frequency, the origins and the linkage. Transportation mode tu depends on the demand, your original location, and the capacity, the infrastructure and location. So you nak guna jalan biasa, you nak guna laut, you nak kena udara, jarak, dekat, jauh, flow, sama ada bawa banyak barang ataupun sedikit barang. So it's really integrated. It's really integrated. So these are the explanation of the relationship between network, flow and spatial construct. The scale of the transport system. So for local, it's better to use street and transit system. Flow, sometimes people are using commuting, naik basikal boleh, naik motor boleh, personal and social trips, sometimes deliveries, product deliveries, special construction, kadang activity, district, terminal. So dia basically dalam satu locality lah, dalam satu bandar yang kecil. Regional, then you have to use, you have to use a longer mode of transport, like for example train. Sometimes boleh guna juga kapal terbang. Better dalam mode ni, regional, biasanya orang guna train lah. Alright. That's why bila guna train ni, intercity tu is very important. Intercity stoppage, stop station from contohlah daripada JB nak ke KL kan, the intercity tu penting lah. Contohnya kalau nak berhenti kat Batu Pahat, nak berhenti kat Air Hitam, nak berhenti dekat Tangkak, nak berhenti dekat Muar, and then Melaka, kemudian Seremban baru sampai KL. Okay, ni boleh juga guna bus. And then global, of course you need faster or a bigger transportation, for example flight, so you can, or kapal yang besar. Then this is two types of transportation that you can connect globally. Alright. So the core component of the transport system modes depends on the car, lorry, aeroplane, train, what kind of modes of transportation. Infrastructure, kalau katakanlah macam nak pergi Kelantan tak ada naik kereta api pasal landasan kereta api tak ada kat Kelantan kan. Kereta api tak sampai kat Kelantan. Macam tu lah. Kat Melaka kan. Landasan kereta api sampai Batam Melaka je. Kan tak sampai Ekro. Kalau ada kat Ekro pun dia pusing kat Ekro je. Kalau ada kat Bandar Melaka pun, landasan kereta api kat Bandar Melaka ni dia pusing dalam Melaka je kan. Monorail yang tak jadi tu. Infrastructure. Patutnya infra tu dikembangkan kan. Orang kat Ekro ni boleh pergi Jasin ke, boleh pergi Alor Gajah ke, naik kereta api kan. Naik LRT, MRT. Macam kat KL kan. Kat Melaka ni tak ada. Landasan kereta api pusing kat Bandar Melaka. Saya pun tak tahulah apa tujuannya kan. Membazir saya rasa. Patutnya expand. Sampai Ekro kan. Sampai Durian Tunggal. Sampai Alor Gajah. Sampai Jasin. Naik kereta api kan? Lagi mudah, cepat kan? Okay. Network network kan, contohlah baru ni macam MRT lah kan, pembinaan MRT tu kan ada lokasi-lokasi yang diorang nak jadikan stesen MRT. So network kan, kat mana nak berhenti? Kenapa nak berhenti kat stesen tu? Kenapa nak kena berhenti kat Seri Kembangan? Kenapa nak kena berhenti kat Balakong? Kenapa nak kena berhenti kat Kajang? Kenapa tak berhenti kat Sedang je? Contoh. Macam kat Melaka lah, contoh lah. Kalau kat Melaka, kita daripada Melaka ni, daripada UTM ni nak pergi ke bandar kan. Kita boleh lalu Bacang, kita boleh lalu Batu Bendam kan. So kalau stesen kereta api ada, nak lalu Bacang ke nak lalu Bacang ke nak lalu Batu Bendam? Kenapa nak lalu Bacang? Kenapa nak lalu Batu Bendam? Kalau dari segi ekonomi point of view, better lalu Batu Bendam kan. Pasal banyak business activity. Daripada lalu Bacang, kawasan kampung, ada pun nasi ni. Kan? Network. Flow, movement of people, freight information. Information ni penting. Tadi saya kata gunakan information dekat apps kan. Betul tak? Untuk tengok map. Ada lagi information yang lain. Contohlah Agoda kan. Bukan sekadar boleh tengok hotel. Tengok flight. Mungkinlah katakanlah awak nak berniaga sampai ke Jepun kan. Sambil cuti sambil berniaga kan. Bawa barang nak deliver kat customer. Tengoklah harga flight paling murah kan. Betul tak? Contohlah orang Kelantan nak jual nasi kerabu kat KL kan. Hantar naik bas. Pagi-pagi hantar naik bas. Dah naik, kapal terbang pun ada. Dia tahu flight tu pukul berapa, dia hantar. Kan? So, you have to know network. Information tu penting. Right? Okay. Okay, the relationship between transportation and energy is direct. The longer the distance, the time that you require, the types of fuel, and because of these three, the relationship between transportation and energy is direct. The more time you need to deliver your product, then you need more energy. The longer your location, the longer your distance, you need more energy. The less energy efficient fuel, you need more energy. It's the direct. But then, that's why you have to compromise between speed and energy. You have to compromise between speed and time. You have to compromise between speed and cost lah. So the main issue is the price. Harga minyak mahal ke murah? Kan? Harga kereta mahal ke murah? Kalau electric car mahal, kalau kena guna kereta biasa. Tapi kereta biasa nak kena pakai minyak. Nak pakai minyak pula kena tengok harga diesel murah ke harga petrol murah. Kan? Kena pakai biodiesel. Kan? Technological and technical changes. Kita kata tadi apps, searching engine, jenis kenderaan, and finally environmental externalities. Your surrounding, your geography, your perlu ke kawasan tu bukit-bukit ke kan, sungai ada ke, contohnya nak hantar barang ke Sabah Sarawak kan, kena lalu sungai, boleh ke lalu kan, kenderaan berat boleh lalu ke kena naik bot ke. Your environmental externalities, right? So energy use is depends on vehicle, infra, demand and spatial structure. Distribution lah, agent tu. Distribution. Nak duduk kat Kuala Lumpur, hantar barang kat Kuala Lumpur, ataupun nak duduk kat Melaka, hantar barang kat Kuala Lumpur. Distribution. Demand. Permintaan. Infra. Infra pun penting tak? Kan? Macam jalan kat Putrajaya, jalan kat Putrajaya, sampai ada 4 lane kan? Jalan kat kampung ada 1 lane je. Itu pun kalau 2 kenderaan bertembung, kena berselisih, kena berhenti dulu. Berhenti tu dah ambil masa. Berhenti tu dah habis masa. Masa yang ada tu boleh buat benda lain. Kena fikir-fikir kan. Right. So, of course, the more energy that you use, the more CO2 that you going to emit lah. For example, lori 34% kan. Kenapa dia 34%? Pasal dia, walaupun dia satu lori tu banyak kan, tapi satu lori yang banyak tu boleh hantar banyak barang kan. Per item, yes, it less compared to the car. Kereta ni banyak juga, tapi dia boleh bawa barang sikit kan. Sebab tu kalau kapal terbang, memang dia banyak keluarkan CO2. Dan dia pun guna minyak kan, yang memang akan keluarkan CO2. Tapi berapa banyak barang yang diangkut? Banyak kan. That's why cuma kapal terbang dengan kapal biasa ni, you kena play with time lah. Kalau customer tu nak urgent, then you have to use aeroplane. Kalau customer tu willing to wait, then you can use shipping. Kan? Contohlah macam saya dulu pernah duduk dekat macam ada kawan-kawan kita yang pernah duduk dekat overseas kan. Nak raya kan. Nak order nak order serunding. Serunding tu nak naik kapal biasa ke kapal laut? Nak kapal terbang ke kapal laut? Sesilap kalau naik kapal laut, lepas raya baru sampai serunding. Kan? Tapi kalau you nak serunding sampai masa bulan puasa, you bayar dekat terbang. Tapi cost lah. Cost. Alright. So ni adalah perbandingan di antara pelepasan CO2 lah per kilometer. Of course, paling tinggi adalah kapal terbang. Paling tinggi adalah kapal terbang, diikuti dengan kenderaan besar. Sini ni, belah kiri. Paling tinggi adalah kereta besar. Kereta besar. And then compare dengan kapal terbang, compare dengan kereta biasa, bas dan rail. So the less CO2 emission per kilometer is train. The higher CO2 per kilometer is large car, macam SUV kan. Naiknya seorang, 2 orang. Tapi keretanya besar. Kan, asap hitamnya teruk. SUV. Kan, macam X-Trail. Apa lagi? Triton. Hilux. Okay. And then, berat barang. Gram of CO2 per ton kilometer. Freight. Ni adalah penumpang. Ni adalah barang. Ni adalah penumpang. Ni untuk penumpang. Ni adalah barang. Cuma barang tu, ialah barang kadang-kadang boleh jadi kapal terbang juga kan. Paling tinggi kan. Mungkin barang sikit, tapi terpaksa hantar tempat yang jauh. Paling baik adalah kalau sebagai passenger naik kereta api, untuk hantar barang, yang paling baik adalah menggunakan kapal laut. Okay. Sini adalah comparison di antara tenaga yang digunakan, unit energy cost, dengan speed, kelajuan. So the best is supersonic plane lah, cepat lah. Tapi energi dia paling tinggi. Energinya paling tinggi. So which one is the best? Agaklah yang tengah-tengah ni okey sikit kan. Tapi still, kalau kita nak the best performance, paling laju, the best performance paling laju. Train lah. Train dengan truck. Right. Ni adalah untuk bawa barang, freight. Tapi kalau untuk passenger, paling kurang impact adalah basikal, tapi dia adalah paling lambat. So the best is still bus and car lah. Right. Okay, transportation and alternative fuel. Transportation and alternative fuel. So the primary transportation is the primary fuel is petroleum kan. So alternative is biofuel, ethanol, gas, hydrogen, electricity, hybrid. So biasanya kita guna diesel ataupun petrol kan. So nowadays we have hybrid, combination of electric car dengan petrol ataupun diesel. So you can natural gas. So hybrid lah, combine dengan natural gas dengan minyak kan. So the less CO2 emission, of course train lah. Train, the best one lah. So the mode of transportation, kaedah transport kita ada atas jalan raya, kereta api, landasan kereta api, udara dan laut. So the impact, of course vehicle manufacturer need to produce a better energy efficient car. Better mode of operation kan. Sama ada kita nak bawa dengan keadaan berhemah ataupun excessive acceleration. Sebab tu kadang-kadang sekarang kereta ada eco mode, ada sport mode kan. Infra, construction and maintenance, jalan kalau boleh jangan berlubang, jalan ada, jangan jalan yang melakukan lengkok kan. Management of transport operation, nak elakkan sekatan jalan raya, nak elakkan congestion, traffic jam. Of course last sekali adalah impact dia akan memberi kesan kepada kita punya kos operasi dan juga kos penggunaan tenaga. So the impact daripada land transportation is 85% of total energy used by transportation is developed economy. So 85%. Kebanyakan kita bergerak adalah untuk tujuan ekonomi, bisnes. Kan? Nak jumpa orang, nak jumpa klien, nak hantar barang, nak ambil barang mentah kan. Mungkin barang mentah tu ada kat Melaka tapi kat KL lagi murah kan. Tapi dia dah kira total cost lagi murah ambil kat KL. Ambil kat KL. That's how people do business. Okay, responsible for energy, for additional energy demands. So kalau perlu tak nanti in future ada tak lagi kita nak tambah customer kita, perlu tak lagi pertambahan penggunaan tenaga. Rail transport remain 4 more times efficient than passenger and twice. So kereta api 4 kali ganda lebih cekap berbanding dengan berbanding dengan transportation sedia ada. Untuk passenger dan untuk barang adalah 2 kali lebih baik daripada kapal laut. Okay. Maritime transportation, most of them biasanya berniaga dekat bahagian pelabuhan. Jaranglah kapal tu sampai hantar barang depan rumah kan. Berniaga sampai dekat pelabuhan. Alright. And then ship fuel consumption depends on design, utilization level, operational speed, idle time, waiting time kat port. Dan nak punggah barang apa semuanya kan. Keadaan cuaca. Itulah antara kekurangan kalau katakanlah kita guna kapal kan. Banyak kadang-kadang kita tak tahu puting beliung dekat kapal, kat laut dan sebagainya. Okay, air transportation, higher energy consumption, lagi laju lah. Supersonic lagi laju daripada kapal biasa kan. However, technological innovation such as more energy efficient engines are better aerodynamic and lead to continuous improvement of the energy efficiency on the new generation of aircraft. Alright, so aircraft sekarang dah design untuk mementingkan kesan, untuk mengurangkan kesan negatif terhadap alam sekitar. A passenger transportation account of 50-60% of the energy consumption derived from transport activities. Private car has dominant but poor energetic performance. Yalah, barang tak banyak boleh angkat kan, boleh bawa. Tapi banyak gunakan tenaga. Ini bergantung juga kepada fuel efficiency. And growth of vehicle mass travel is correlated with change of energy price. Bergantung kepada harga minyak kan. Okay. Freight ni kapal, so ni adalah train, 50-40% of the consumption, dominated by transportation, 80% is total consumption. Compare with water and berbanding dengan, so ni adalah 80% penggunaan pengangkutan adalah di darat, compare dengan air dan udara. Right? Transportation and environment, direct impact, noise, CO2, carbon monoxide, indirect, incomplete combustion, pembakaran tidak lengkap, cumulative impact is a global warming and climate change. So, in terms of operation, impact the lift of limit and shorter runway. Inilah macam mana kaedah-kaedah yang kita boleh gunakan untuk menjimatkan kos pengangkutan kita. Kalau kita tengok dari segi operation, impact of lift, maksudnya load limit on shorter runway, limit on period of construction activities. Okay, right. Lagi dari segi operation, longer shipping season yang bawah tu, increase in Arctic temperature, longer shipping season, more ice-free ports in northern region, availability of trans-Arctic shipping routes. Okay, laluan kapal. Laluan kapal, contohlah macam kapal tu daripada Pelabuhan Kelang nak pergi Tokyo, nak pergi Osaka. So kita tengoklah kapal tu berlabuh nak bergerak bila kan. Kena budget. Kalau dah tahu dia nak gerak dalam 2-3 hari lagi, cepat-cepat post. Jangan besok dia dah gerak baru nak post. Tunggu dah balik 2 minggu. Alright. Okay, ni apa? Tadilah direct dengan indirect punya impact. Direct dengan indirect punya impact tadi tu lah. Alright. So kalau ni adalah vehicle emission, ni adalah dia punya impact. So ni adalah effect dia. Vehicle emission. Right. externalities of air pollution from transportation. So of course, externalities of air pollution, ni air, bawah ni water lah, ni air. Alright, so loss of useful life, replacement and restoration, people, hour wage loss. So these are the external parties yang kita kena tengok untuk kita identify risk, untuk kita identify risiko. Okay. Sustainability and decarbonization. Okay, these are the element of sustainability. Kita ada 3, iaitu social, economy and environment. Social is the welfare, equal opportunity. So kita kena tengoklah in terms of mode of transportation. So in terms of sustainable transportation, of course akan mengurangkan kesan negatif terhadap alam kita, mengurangkan pemanasan global dan perubahan iklim. Dari segi ekonomi, growth of employment, pricing and competitiveness, safety and society. Dari safety, health, disturbance, access and equity. So these are the a general overview of the modes of transportation in terms of sustainability ataupun sustainable development ataupun sustainable transportation. Sorry, sikit lagi. Alright, transportation and decarbonization. So ni adalah pengurangan pelepasan gas CO2. Kalau dari segi infranya, better guna yang public transport yang infranya terbaik lah. Dan segi contohlah, kalau itu adalah untuk mengangkut barang dan juga orang. Tapi untuk rekreasi, contohlah macam park and ride, walking and cycling facilities, show best our alternative fuel infrastructure. So these are the modes or method to be a decarbonization country in terms of transportation. So managing transport demand, these are some of the how we going to manage our transport at the moment. So of course, elakkan reduce traffic bans, avoidance and full cost price. So access and device entry and integration of information system. Cloud service, you boleh upload tak kita punya transportation mode, data-data yang kita ambil untuk transport kita dalam cloud service, right? So these are how you managing the transport at the moment. So improving in transport supply, energy intensity of the vehicle kena kurangkan lah. So macam mana nak kurangkan? Kena guna energy efficient vehicle, kena tahu sistem network, kena guna keadaan yang cekap tenaga, kena guna sumber minyak yang kurangkan CO2. Alright, improving the transport supply. And then for circular economy, almost same lah. Cuma circular economy ni does not look into your factory per se. Dia akan melihat kepada semua aktiviti-aktiviti daripada extraction of raw material, penghasilan material, penggunaan material dan juga pelupusan material. Okay. Material, supplier, manufacturer, distributors. Alright. This is a circular economy. Alright. Last one. Logistic activity and green dimension in terms of material, dari segi keretanya, design, dari segi punca suara, sustainable sourcing, packaging and packing, common circular material use. In terms of physical distribution, demand responsive system, load consolidation, alternative modes, and fuel certification of carriers and distribution facilities, and shipping scheduling and routing. So these are the logistics activities under green boundary. Okay, green dimension. Okay, logistic activities under green dimension. Alright. So okay, alhamdulillah. Right. Anyone would like to ask any questions? Anyone of you would like to ask any question before we dismiss our class? Alright.